On this week's show, we go over patch 5.1 and talk LCS playoffs. All that and more on this week's Waypoint. What's up, guys, and welcome to Waypoint, your weekly League of Legends recap. I'm your host, Andrusco. Echo, the boy who shattered time, has hit live servers along with patch 5.1. First impressions are that he is definitely a strong champion that is sure to shine in competitive play. It's hard to judge how good he actually is due to the fact that summoners are still learning him and he's banned half the time. He's also the kind of champion where the difference between a good player and a great player is massive. Hopefully, we won't have to wait too long to see what Faker can do with him at OGN. Moving on to the patch notes, starting with a fix to Akali's ultimate. In 5.9, Shadow Dance was buffed to make Akali dash through her target, which in theory was a good thing. In practice, however, it just gave her target more time to react, stun her, or move away. The change hasn't been reverted, but the pass-through range has been lowered significantly, which should help her actually stick to her targets. Next up, Cassiopeia has been a top-tier mage recently, thanks to her overwhelmingly powerful and consistent late-game damage. 5.1 isn't changing that, but she is losing some of the sustain that helps her reach late-game monster status. The heal on 100 passive stacks Twin Fang is being slightly lowered. More significantly though, the mana restore when Twin Fang kills a target is being cut in half. That's definitely gonna hurt her, but I still think Cassie is in a good spot. Right now, Jinx is the #1 AD carry late game powerhouse, thanks to the attack speed bonus on her minigun, which lets her melt objectives and champions alike. Riot has lowered the early game power of her attack speed, but slightly increased its late game strength to compensate. What this really does is stop her from snowballing her way to late game with insanely quick turret kills. Karma got some interesting changes this patch. She can now lower the cooldown on her mantra more effectively through her passive, while the damage on her W and E have been lowered or removed in favor of more utility. She has more rooting power, bigger shields, lower cooldowns, and less mana costs. This might push Karma firmly into the support role, but seeing as she doesn't see much play as it is, that might be a good thing. Lulu's base mana regen has been bumped up, while her mana regen per level has been lowered. This change is aimed at helping out support Lulu, who's fallen off completely in favor of solo lane Lulu. Rek'Sai's base health has been lowered by 40 in an attempt to keep her early game aggression and pressure in check. She's going to have less health coming out of the jungle and be more vulnerable in early game scraps and ganks. She's still Rek'Sai though, and she's still going to be one of the best junglers in the game, so I wouldn't be too worried. Ryze's Q damage is being increased slightly, but more importantly, his passive and ultimate now last for 6 seconds at all ranks. This is a huge buff to his early and mid game. He gains so much power through his passive and his R. This might just be what Ryze needs to be useful throughout the game and survive his difficult laning phase. We still have more patch notes to go over, but I want to take a second to thank our sponsor, Audible. With over 180,000 audiobooks to choose from, Audible is the go-to place to pick up your next book. I am a huge fan of Audible, and I love their great listen guarantee. If you pick up a book that you don't like, simply return it, no questions asked. We have a great deal for our viewers right now. Just by going to gboffer.com/audible, you're going to receive a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook of your choice. Also, by trying out Audible, you are directly helping support Waypoint, and we really do appreciate it. That URL again is gboffer.com/audible. Next up, the Ancient Coin line of items has been buffed pretty significantly. Its bonus gold, mana regen, and health regen are all going up. More importantly though, the cooldown on Talisman of Ascension's AoE speed buff has been lowered to just 40 seconds. That is absolutely huge. It's going to be up for every single fight and likely up again for either cleaning up or running away. Ardent Sensor has got a much needed buff. It still has the same base stats, giving a good amount of ability power, mana regen, cooldown reduction, and movement speed, but the buff it adds to your heals and shields has been massively improved. It now adds 30 magic damage on hit and a 15% attack speed for 6 seconds, although it no longer works on minions because that would be nuts. There were a few small mastery changes in the utility tree, but the only one that's going to make a big difference was to intelligence. It now reduces the cooldown of activatable items by 20%, up from 10%. So for example, with the Talisman of Ascension, you've got an AoE speed boost on a 32-second cooldown. Not bad, to say the least. New Yorkers, get ready, because Riot has unveiled their plans for the LCS Finals. At the end of this split, the NA LCF playoffs will be heading to Madison Square Garden. MSG is world famous, home to both massive concerts and events. It's also the kind of East Coast event that fans have really been hoping for. If you'd like to attend, tickets will be going on sale later this month. That does it for this week's episode of Waypoint. For more video game news and content, head on over to GameBreaker.tv. Be sure to check back every week for the latest League of Legends news. If you enjoyed this video, please share it on Facebook to help us reach more people. And if you want more League of Legends content, recaps, and updates, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, LolNationTV. I'm Kat Andrusco. You can follow me on Twitter @KatAndrusco. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next Waypoint.